Folks, quick sound check, please. Yeah, I already did the work on NVIDIA. There it is. Spike the low and rip it back up from that zone, okay? All right, so let me go back to the cues here just so we see it. Here's the situation. Most of you already picked up on this. Now, I didn't draw this trend line in, market drew it in. And it's a trend line, and it happens to coincide with a number, kind of a give or take in here. This is the candle that's opening up now. So it's in here. They're below this low, which is exactly 434.23. So as long as they stay below that low, the door's open for here. Now the risk, we're looking for a bounce back in the other direction. The risk is they give this whole thing up and then they go fill the gap. Are they going to do that on the first run? This is the morning trade right here. Okay. Above 435 is a rescue. Did you get that on NVIDIA, Will? Okay. Here's some IWM stuff. They're in here right now. It's just tough tape right now, up and down. Options X, regular way. Not that much fanfare with earnings yet. We've got Albemarle, Morgan Stanley, JB Hunt, UAL. JB Hunt's not really close, but it was lower earlier, but it can move. So the number has to be in accordance with, I've seen this before, and we'll see. I still got a couple minutes to post time. That's really it. You can see where they are. They're right below this low, which door's open. Very tough to short it to get down there, just like yesterday. We don't know that they will get down there, but if they do get down there, we're interested. Two different, excuse me, two different things going on there. Normally they'll whip them around at the open, normal stuff. Run a couple of fake out operations, maybe a flea flicker real quick. All right, we're close. Just let them do their thing. All right, we wait for the thing we want. We don't necessarily want to chase the market around. All right, that's a recipe for bad stuff to happen. Armand, we've got NVIDIA down here. That's my number, my zone today. Below that, it becomes a problem. And here it comes. And they're off.
ALB opened just above the first level.
And let's take a look while the spiders bounce around.
And so did Morgan Stanley.
ALB, Captain Morgan. So they're trying to recapture this low. No magic there. That's just technical stuff 101. We don't know whether they can or they can't. If they can't, it opens the door. If they can, it opens the door for 435.
JB Hunt's coming down to its number.
Let's see what we got. Albemarle, Morgan Stanley, looks like they hit it. Morgan Stanley hit it, Albemarle's coming down. JB Hunt, see, that one is a mover. Let me go back to the spiders. Below this low, the door's open for 433.25. It's just the way it is. Oh yeah. Transports are getting hammered. IWM's down, so you got relative weakness today. And everything's down, but you got relative weakness with the transports and the IWM. Of note. Nice bounce for JB Hunt. Nice bounce for Morgan. Albemarle's not bouncing yet. There you go with JB Hunt. Anybody take that one? That's a tough trade, but what is the line before fourth? Okay, Samantha, that's a trend line that the market drew, not me. See this? That's a trend line. And when a trend line happens to coincide with the general area of a number, I'm interested because it's another item that creates that full stack type of opportunity where the more things you have pointing at the same location, the more likely you are to get support at that location, in this case. $1.50 for JB Hunt, for Rob Z, nice job. Okay, big spread. Look at that bounce. My goodness. Here comes 435. Can be overhead resistance, but they can also keep going. Again, this is, we saw it yesterday. I'm not suggesting that this is a short at 435, although they can react there. That's total trader's choice, if they're even going to do it. See what the hourly looks like? You can see this trend line. You got a breakup candle low here. When you look at it from an hourly chart perspective, there's a number in front of it. And it came up short. No bounce. Not in IWM. So they came up short of the first place. So that trade's over anyway. Whatever, if anybody wanted to do that. And we're back in the
ALB.
boat for below the low. The door's open for the lower stuff.
ALB just tagged the third level.
Oh, they didn't do it. Shoot. Okay, let me go over there. Yeah, let me take a further look at this one just in case. There's another number down there. Below that, and it becomes a problem. Okay, Ron. Ron took NVIDIA, had his own number, was willing to buy mine. That's good. That works. I like that. Spiders are hanging. Just let them do it. Don't get jumpy. Patience. You're still fighting the low over here. And just for argument's sake, we could put a demarcation point there. We don't really need it. As long as they're below that line, the door's open for the 433.25, give or take. Albemarle came close. They came 9 cents away. Morgan Stanley bouncing again. Yeah, this is where it'll start to heat up. Tesla, Netflix, Lam Research report after the bell today. Ron made a K on NVIDIA. Nice job. Okay, here come the spiders. Let's see if they can keep pushing. Get through this little moving average here. Shouldn't really be a showstopper. Just looking at different configurations. Let it happen. NVIDIA coming back down again. Spiders get to the number, maybe NVIDIA will get a push. Spike the low, rip it back up in the other direction from this zone. Keep an eye on it. Let's see what the Qs are doing. The hardest thing to do is have the patience. Spike the trend line, get to the number. It's an opportunity. They got below the low. See, they're getting a bounce with the spiders. It's not over yet. Just running these little fake out operations. That's all it is. Only back above 434.23 does anything change if they stay back above there. 157.22. They came back and got it. Yeah, what I'm saying, Matt, is as long as they're below 434.23, the door is still open for the lower price. If they're back above and they stay above, the lower stuff is off the table while they're above. And yeah, it's still fine. We got a 10 o'clock jolt today. Any news coming? Economic data? No. 10:30? Okay. They'll do something before that. Another fake out operation. That's all it was. Don't get fooled. Yeah, I know there's a lot of Fed speak later on. Thanks, William. I don't know how that happened, Michael H., but nice job, whatever it was. Okay. Let's see. We got there. Bear with me. Working on something. I'm watching. I got my eye on two balls. That didn't sound good. All right. We got NVIDIA's edging their way. And then we have NXPI, just in case. All right. Let me see what we got in the box. Watching the transports. Yeah, transports are still going down. It's interesting. All right. Is tomorrow an anniversary of a stock market crash? Does anybody know the answer to that? It's a question that came in from William. Just want to throw it out there. What is it, Jeff? Which one? Yep. 1987. It's always ominous, isn't it? Always ominous. Doesn't mean there's a crash coming, but it's always ominous. So far, they left the number alone, but they couldn't get back above yet. Don't get fooled. Here comes NXPI. What was the meaning behind that again, Mark? Just remind me, please. What was the stat or whatever it was behind that? I forgot. Oh my goodness. Wow. Forgot about that. Thanks. NXPI doesn't get there. Come on. I was locked and loaded on that one. Ugh, these swines. Golly. Look at this. Look at this. That's too bad. I'm still hovering. It's taking a while. Traders that are interested in 433.25 should still be good. You might want to make them spike it a little bit. Interesting how they're staying away from this trend line. As time goes on, excuse me, we will like 433.25 less and less. Right now, it's still the general area where you should get a bounce. Plus, they haven't touched the trend line yet. There's a fake out operation. There's a spike to low. There's still plenty of reasons why it's still okay in that zone. Maybe down at the 433. Maybe they spike it. That's okay. Wow, Chad. Interesting. Be right back. 1 second, please. I'll be right back with you. All right, I'm here. I'm watching. I just have to take this phone call. But those that are taking the bounce, you take profit at your normal area and you hold the trailer. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I had to take that call. All right. So the base hit's done, obviously. Okay. They hit the number, base hit, you took profit. I want to hear the profit. I want to hear not only the points, but if you have some juicy numbers, put in the juicy numbers. If you don't want to tell me, then don't tell me. But I know there's profit. I want to hear about it. Of 434.23 can ensue a whole nother leg higher. It also could be overhead resistance. So what do we have? We have a bunch. Base hit, holding trailer, 420 holding trailer for John W. Base hit with a trailer for Scott. We got Dirk. We got profit for Dirk. We got holding long from the drop. Holding long from the drop. Yeah, Michael H. Good. Sorry, misunderstood. 300 on the ES base hit for Bob. 739 for Jack F. Nice job. 4 points, $600. John S. 2K for Thomas M. 2K for Sean. 6 points in the trailer for Jory. 250 open runner at 3.25 for Ron M. Nice job. See you later on vacation, Bob L. Great job. Trailer, Dirk, just hit 6 points on the trailer. Grant, 1,800 for Eric F. Nice job. Look at this run. How you doing? Michael W, 5 points plus a trailer. Look at this. How you doing? The routine. Above 434.23, if they stick, 435, and then they can keep going. There's no reason they can't. I'm not saying they will, but look at this trend line. Can they go up and fill this gap up here? 436? Why not? We don't know they will. I'm just saying if you're holding a trailer, it doesn't cost you anything to hold it, especially if they can stick above 434.21. Gives you a little bit more of an edge. 1,956 for Jeremy. Good job. Well done. 10 points for William P. Riz took the NQ and DQ from the lows. Great job. 13 points from Michael W. with the trailer. Well done. Well done. This is a great start to the day. 13 points total and out for Scott S. 6 points in learning, Michael R. That's fine. Jorge took the IWM base hit. Nice job, Jorge. All right, they took a test to the high of day, pulled back. Fair enough. You know, that was a nice run, okay? That was a nice 10, 12-point run, whatever it was. More. Eric got 13 points. Yeah, almost all of it. Well done. You had a nice day in the first 40 minutes, Eric. 2 trades. First time, best time. If they come back down, no dice. Not to say it won't work, but it's not the same trade. So now they're just eating time off the clock. When you look at, for example, this 15-minute chart, they're just eating time off the clock. So it's bearish now until they get back above 434.23. That'll break the chain if they could stay above there. It's the same thing as NVIDIA. I think it was just, well, this was closer, but same concept. When they match up, there's got to be something there the majority of the time, the large majority of the time. Not every time, but most of the time. No question. This is just the back and forth. This is why we take profit. This is why we take what we take. And if they give us another trade lower, that's fine. It doesn't cost you anything to hold it as long as they don't come back to your entry price. Same routine. Let's take a look. Maybe. It's not the same. It's not the same. It's just not after that. Look at that bounce. Doesn't look like much on this chart, but the low is 423 and a quarter, 427, 60, 62. It's not the same. They gave you the trade. Not to say it won't work. The lower number maybe, but those are my rules for myself. Nice job. Thomas M saying Biden speaking. Oh, I see. I just looked at the TV. Biden speaking, market may pause. Maybe. What's he talking about? Obviously, I know. Don't answer that. I get it, Chad. I doubt it, Justin. I could see the whatever you call that thing down at the bottom. He's talking about the package for Israel. Just remember, this thing spreads quickly, and it's not necessarily in the heat of the moment inflationary for the market short term. I know that's the prevailing wisdom, but that's when it's contained. Talking about the Middle East war. Yeah, he never says anything of substance. It's still a bearish pattern until they can break the chain, and technically they break the chain above the highs. They tried to bust through the highs and they couldn't. However, it's really that former low that's still important, I believe. He should be playing shuffleboard somewhere. Should be retired. No business being president. And I don't even blame him. Your ego overruns you. I blame his wife and those close to him for letting him do it. I don't blame him at all. Yeah, a little bit. They could have just taken the money they stole and drifted off into the sunset. Nobody would have even looked, ever. You're still playing games with 424, 23. I just said I think it's still important, and it is. I think above is the ticket. They got to stay above, though. You stay long. There's no reason to be out with, if you still have a trailer, they haven't given you a reason. It's not costing you anything to hold it. I say that all the time. The trailer is the one that makes you the money over the long term. You don't get them all the time, but when you do get them, you get an extra 10, 20 points out of it. Look at this. There you go. Here comes 435. There it is. Now they gave you like 17 points, right? If you're still holding a trade. That's my point. No reason to hold, no reason to sell it. Look at that trend line, by the way. Just always going back to assess what happened. And you always get a different perspective after the fact because you see the chart, you see what you thought it was going to be, and then you see what happened and you learn something from it, where you're right, where you're wrong. And look at that trend line and the number. That was it. That was the whole trade today. You saw when I put that stuff on the board for inside the numbers, it was like really early, like 8:30. I just couldn't wait. No reason to sit around. There's just chomping at the bit. That was the trade today. NQ, let's take a look. What time frame? 15-minute? Let's see. Let's make sure this is set. Downtrend line in a 15-minute. You doing this? Nope. I don't see it. Scott, I don't see it. Thanks, Jason. There's, generally speaking, there's one or two morning trade setups before the opening bell that I can identify. Sometimes it could be a short and a long, depending on which way they go, or it's a short or a long. But after that, after the market does its thing, if it does its thing for the morning trade, then you have to wait for it to do the next thing, and you never know what that's going to be before the open. So that's why the first trade, the morning trade that we always strive for, is the, call it bread and butter situation, because you don't know what they're going to give you after the fact. Goes for any of the markets, any of the stocks, any of the markets. There's always that morning setup. Yeah, he's off the TV. Nobody cares. They never hit the number, did they? Look at this. I guess my number was wrong. What's going on over here? Still relative weakness along with the transports. They ran down to fill a gap is what they did. Look at that total take back. Remember this the other day? Total take back. That's a rodeo. It's pretty incredible. You don't see that all the time. Yeah, they are, Sean. The team who peaks at the right time wins the World Series. That's generally the way it goes. Team that peaks at the right time, two teams get to the World Series. 7-game set isn't necessarily peaking. That's just should be who's the better team, but generally it's a marathon. I never said it was, John S. I never said it was. Around the opening bell, I said 435, if they got there, would generally give a reaction, but that already happened without it getting there. They got close and then they fell down, got to the number, and then they got to 435, but that wasn't the same anymore. A shakeout operation, chasers, they have to get a pie in the face. In here, Will, you mean? Yeah. Grant took a plus 21 points on the day. Well done, Grant. Okay. I hope I know the answer to that, Will. I think I know the answer to that. How about we ask the opposite? Will wants me to ask if folks think they're getting their money's worth. And I'm going to ask the opposite. Who's not getting their money's worth? And if you're not, that's fine. Speak up. This is the complaint department. Thanks, Michael W. You're going to learn something. You're going to have a little fun. I'm going to say some quirky stuff. We're going to have some pretty darn good numbers. It's a pretty good deal. Give me a minute. I'll be right back. And we've got a failure to go up, obviously. First time, best time. There is no trade here. The next trade would be a spike the low, rip it back up in the other direction. This low here, which is 432.45, they can get all the way here, but they should give you something before they do if they're going to be down there. All right, I will in a second. I got to update the notes. I'll be right back, Jeff, or everybody. Now, they're either testing the trend line again and the number, that area, or they're just going to leak lower. And there's another opportunity if they leak lower, but there's no opportunity here. First time, best time. It's not prudent to play games with it, especially after you have profit in your pocket. Don't guess. Let me, yeah, we got a couple of comments on rates. Let me take a look over there. Let me get my rates. So let's 2-year, 5-year. There it is. The high is 4.889 so far. My number is 4.89. They're breaking out. There's your 5%. Talked about that yesterday. Yep. And there she is. Oh, come on. They never hit my number in the regular hours. That's what I can tell you. They hit it in the pre-market here, October 6th, Friday. And they never hit it during the regular hours. Best I could tell you is it's still my number. Yeah, if you actually pay attention to that stuff, which I think you do, that actually happens. The market gets a little bit of a boost when the president speaks, no matter who it is, more times than not. I have no idea whether it will or it won't. They're below all my stuff. I would abide by the stop. Michael V. Say first time, best time. It's not the same. Let them come down farther. Nobody's in a trade now. Nobody's got anything left. If you had a trailer, it's over. Now you wait for the next thing. You're in the driver's seat. You had a profit. Now you wait for something juicy. Low here, 432.45. That's the next place. A lot of times you'll find a bull bear battle at this place. That's the window, right? And there's no man's land here down to the gap. A lot of times they'll give you the trade here. You could create a zone if you want from 432.45 to 431.55. It's 90-cent zone. It's not that big of a deal. We don't know if they will get to the gap, but a lot of times they'll give you the bounce over here first. Wait for the gap. You have a profit in your pocket and you say, well, if they don't get to the gap, then so be it. I'm not going to be in. That's fine too. The trend line is broken now, Jason. Hey, just stick to the rules, Grant, and you just say, whatever's left of my trailer, I'm never going to let it go negative on me. And that's it. And this way, it's called a risk-free, emotionless trade, and you played it correctly. Oh, you took it on the price. Yeah, you sold it into strength. That's the way. If you have a trailer, that's the other way. But selling into strength is the optimum way to get out of a position on the way up, selling into strength, obviously. Just let them come down. Same as before. Patience. Yeah, that was fine, Mitch. I got it. You did good. You did great. Just like before. You just wait for them to do the thing you want. Actually, the number was 432.73, but I couldn't do that in front of the lows. What was the low? 73. Will was saying if they don't get to the lows, this was the spot. He was right. I knew there was a spot there, but I couldn't, no way in front of the lows. Not after the morning trade, no chance. Wasn't really even thinking about it. I knew about it, but I wasn't thinking about it. I would say it's a coin toss at this stage of the morning, close to 11 o'clock. That's for, who asked me that? Eddie. If the market is bouncing, so this is after the morning rush. We go over this a couple of times here and there, so it's a good question. The question is Morgan Stanley still on the table? And the reason I said it's a 50-50 is because now after the morning rush, if you're getting a stock that's dripping lower and you're getting a bounce in the market, which we're really not yet, I'm just saying if you are, then that's relative weakness. And that's a situation where it's variable risk that you don't need. Delayed alert on gold this morning. Gold gapped higher, second exit. Alert just came through. All right, so they didn't get to the lows. Okay. Nice job, Will. Will took the trade. It was his number, not mine. I wasn't willing to do it. Yeah. Just want to remind myself of that one. Nick played the Qs. 06 against 365.10 and the bounce. There it is. Nice job, Nick. We got something for everybody. As long as they're below 433.25, the door is open for the lows still. Shannon. There it is. Here are those lows. Spike the low. Do they get all the way to the gap or do they rip it back up first? You can create a zone, but if you're buying it up here, you have to be willing to buy it lower. That's the trade. Halfway home, any spike, all the way home. We don't know. What we do know is the important places and what generally happens at the important places. And that becomes a probability business. That's what it is. Okay, John, that's not a bad idea. They're fighting it just as prescribed. Bull bear battle. That's what I wrote earlier. Generally what happens at these places, bull bear battle, whether or not they go lower doesn't matter. A lot of times they'll give you the scalp right here. We don't know which one it's going to be, but that's why it creates a zone. Don't forget the other side. There are a faction of traders that are shorting it to get to the gap once they got below the low of 432.45. So there's generally speaking a need for them to get screwed. Even if they're going to go to the gap, they generally will screw them first. There's nothing down there. It's too far for the current prices. Transport's still getting drummed. IWM getting hammered. Spider's trying to bounce one more time. Same place. No surprise. This is what's supposed to happen. Finally, Grant, huh? 10-year broke the number. That took a long time. Not sure it's still any good, Matthew. That if it was a while ago, I don't know. Let's see where Datadog is. No, there's nothing here. Not today. This is the bull bear battle. The question is, do they give you a pop? If they give you the pop, 432.85 to 90, 95, in front of 433 is an exit for a scalp. You don't play games with this after the morning trade, after the profit, if you're long from here. If they give you a little pop now, if they come down lower, it's still in the zone. But if they can get back up to close to 433, there's going to be some overhead resistance up in there. Maybe you want to take 4 points. It's up to you, trader's choice. Okay, Matt. Took a few points. That's fine. Remember what we say every day. The first phase of support or resistance is the market stops going in the direction it's going. The second phase is it either goes sideways for a while or goes back in the other direction. So phase one is it stopped going down. The whole concept, just remember, was they'll generally give you the scalp at these areas with a spike the low, even if they're going to come down and fill the gap after the fact. That's the concept. That's why it's a zone, and that's why you can try at the front end of the zone if you were willing to buy the lower end of the zone. John W's got $1,544 in his pocket. Well done. You're welcome. This is how, remember what I said 5 minutes ago, this is how they first have to screw the people selling the break of the low. That's what's going on now. The folks that sold it once they got below 432.45 were selling it to you, and they need to get a pie in the face. Okay. Everybody should have 4 points at least in their pocket. Okay. I think it's worthwhile to take a sliver off here if you can, just in front of 433. That's what I was saying. What was the high so far? 86. I said 85 to 90, 95. This general area, you just want to take a sliver off. Just protect it. After the morning trade, this one's gravy. Lately, Michael H. Yeah, lately. Pretty good range, isn't it? Okay. So there you go. I almost got to 433. He gave you 4 or 5 points, whatever it was. Everybody's got a base hit in their pocket. Hold the trailer. Nothing wrong with holding it. Doesn't cost you anything. So that about does it. That's pretty close to the show for the day. If you're holding a trailer, you hold it. 433.25 they got to. It's overhead resistance until they get back above. Then the next place is to get a test of the trend line from underneath. So let's hear about some profits. I want the actual numbers this time. 17K for Will. What a great job. Will's having a hell of a day. 4 ES on 3 contracts for Jeff. David got it. 6 points for Bob V. No, we talked about this one. That's off the table, NVIDIA. No dice. $900 on 2 ES for Scott S. Great job. 1.1K for Thomas M. Matthew P. got it. 3,500 for Ron W. Well done. 240 for Mitch, 800 for Dirk, 951 for Charles B, 550 for Cody, 400 for Brian T. You got to love it. How about a 2 for today? They like them apples. No heat, right? Nobody was out of the money ever today. No chance. 16 points total. James O, nice job. Well done. 737 for Ron M. Now, if they come back down to fill the gap, the next zone is 431.55 down to 431, maybe a spike of 431. And if they start really pushing below and you're in that later, the big fat round number is 430. It's not a magic number. It's just a big fat round number, but this is a number below. Just saying, if this doesn't hold, that's 430 and then 420. You know, if this is going to collapse today. And it doesn't matter, right? You got 2 trades today. If you just followed instructions, you got 2 trades, no heat, nobody's out of the money, relatively quick bounces. That's what you signed up for. It's a good day. I can tell you right now, we're going to leave it at that. We'll stick around for a while, but there's likely not another trade coming from me before I sign off. Yeah, it was a pretty good day, I would say. This is it. We just come, we get our base hits, stand-up doubles. Sometimes we get a Whopper Jr., all that stuff, and you just do it over and over again. Once in a while, they're going to be wrong. We have to accept that. It's part of the business. Most of the time, we get them right. Yeah, exactly, Linda. You don't care anymore. That's exactly right, Linda said. I had a good day. I don't know what the market's going to do from here, but don't care. Money's staying in the pocket. Well done. First time, best time. There's no trade here now. The next trade is down at the gap. That's it. If there has to be a next one. NVIDIA. Yeah. Look, you don't want it now. They just hovered over here. They played games with it a bunch of times. It's not the same trade. Doesn't change the number. It's just how they did it, the manner in which. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. You keep in mind, weird stuff happens during regular way options expiration week. The S&P's down 36 points, okay? Nothing says it can't be down 50 or 60 today, and nothing says it can't be down 10 later. We don't know. Do you think two-way will continue this week within the trade zone? I think it's two-way trading all week. Yeah, I don't really, no, I don't think it will continue in the zone. I just say it's going to be two-way trades. If it stays in the zone, that's fine. But I can't narrow it down to that, no. SPY fill the gaps on top. I'm not sure, Samantha, what number specifically are you talking about? 436 or the other way around, Matt? Just don't know. Might isn't anything that we can hang our hat on. Yep. We got Tesla, Netflix, and Lam Research report after the bell. I haven't looked at that one in a while. I don't think. It's bearish. Weekly chart. Boom. 550 would be a fantastic area. 550. Market runs up, pulls back, breaks out, comes back to test 550. That's not going to happen anytime soon. You never know. Yeah, they're all big movers, correct. Before 435.45, you mean for the 435 number? We talked about that a couple times earlier today, if that's what you're talking about, Samantha. That's already been done. Is it, Matt? I didn't know that. Yeah, because it's not there, so I just can't pay attention to it, but it's interesting. They're still hugging that neckline one way or the other. Interesting. Nothing you could do with it, but it's interesting. Not now, but today's high. That's what Matt's saying. Yeah, it's fun to look at. I don't mind. I don't blame you. Listen, technically by the textbook version, it's off the table, but it's interesting. And remember what said a long time ago, which is, has nothing to do with whether the market goes down or up. It's just that particular textbook thing is no longer valid from the textbook version. That's all it is. It's nothing more, nothing less. And when I always bring those up, I always say the same thing. I said it probably 10 times with this one at least. Most of them fail. Most of them don't work out. Some do, most don't. But nobody knows that. What they know is when they hear head and shoulders, they say, okay, the market's going down, let me hop on the short side, but they don't realize that most don't work out. Symmetry on a 5-minute chart, I don't see it. If it didn't jump out at me, I don't see it. Still don't see it. If I have to look too hard, it's not there for me. I'll be back in a couple of minutes, folks. I'm gonna stretch them out and then we'll wrap it up around 11:30. Be right back. All right, I'm back. Little retest. Trying to recapture 433.25. Last call for alcohol. Let's start the process of answering some last minute questions, look at some charts, whatever you folks want to do. We're going to leave a nice morning alone. Keep the money in our pocket. So do I, Ron. That's it, Chad. That's still my number. I want to show you something else. Not that. Forget that trend line for now. Now, it didn't look like this on the other charts. 2-hour chart, it does. 1-hour chart, you can see the case for a breakup candle, but the low really wasn't that candle. Okay, it was just a low. But when you look at the 4-hour chart or 2-hour chart, this was the low. They ran a test of a breakup candle low, spiked it, and ripped it back. First time, best time. All depends on how you look at it. Pretty cool, isn't it? How many times have you seen that? From a day trade perspective, Nick, I don't think so. It's relative. It's relative to the market today. Let me see what I could. Just give me a second. Do a little homework on this one. Oh, look at that. I didn't even realize it until I just did that. What was the low? 07. Yeah, that was too late. I don't have anything else on Delta here. Because if they get below 32.85, it's a problem. They'll go down another 50 cents. How would I play Tesla earnings? If Tesla moves, there may be an opportunity, but I wouldn't guess in front of the earnings because how do you know which way it's going to go? You don't, Brian. There may be an opportunity tomorrow morning, Tesla after the bell today. I've been saying for years, Dima, that gold is a long-term buy. So I really haven't changed that. Copper, not so much. Copper is signaling something different. If you read on the docket this week, I put copper in there. I would go back and read that. Silver miners, along with gold and silver and GDX, yeah, I like those for the long term. I like to buy pullbacks in those. And here you go again. So the spike the low and rip it back up in the other direction thing officially worked. This was the place. And they gave you a secondary push. Most of you are out anyway. But that's going to work more often than not in this condition rather than just running down to fill the gap. So I told you they had to screw the traders that were shorting the break of the low. And who were they? If they're selling into the market, who were the buyers? We were. Pretty cool. You never know what anything's going to happen. Correct, Armand, with Tesla. It could be all over the place. It's going to move. We know that. It's going to move. Anything else, folks? Using log scale, when you connect the lows from 2020 to 2022, you have a support around right where we are. Okay, Nick, I don't use a log scale, but I'll take your word on that. Okay, Michael W. Cheers. You're welcome, Steve. All right, folks, we're going to start to wrap it up. Gary, just make sure you take some profit there. Just make sure you don't overtrade over there, Gary. All right, we're going to leave it at this, folks. Pretty good day. And we'll be back tomorrow in uniform, ready to go. Okay, good. We're on the same page, Gary. And don't do stupid stuff in the afternoon. Keep the money in your pocket. You're welcome, Lee. Well done. And we just do it all over again. The market is just a mechanism. We use it to pull some profit out when we can. Nothing more, nothing less. What it does this afternoon, if you want to participate, that's up to you. For one, I don't care what it does this afternoon. Doesn't matter to me. You're welcome, Bob V. All right, folks, that's all she wrote. So we'll see you in the video tonight, back tomorrow in uniform, ready to go. Enjoy the rest of the day. Appreciate everybody that. Take care.